Knowles. Welcome to SHR Soundbites. How are you, sir?
Good. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Coming to us from New York City, the Roger Smith Hotel, and that's a family-owned hotel, right?
Yep. Family owned and operated.
And what's that story, real quick?
So my mother's father started a series of hotels branded Roger Smith that existed on the East Coast. And our New York property was kind of the flagship of the Roger Smith. It's currently the last standing operating Roger Smith, and we're glad to be here. My father ran it for many years, and now my sister and myself are involved in the leadership and ownership of the property.
Are you open right now? Have you been open or have you been closed?
We have been, there's been no guests staying in the hotel. We have had certain facilities open. We haven't been completely like shut down and lights off, but for the most part, we're operating a very, very, very little kind of staff at the moment.
Right.
Yeah.
So what caught my eye was a post you had on LinkedIn about you've made your ground floor available to pop-up retailers, right? Tell us
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. So we've, a couple years ago, we decided to put a little bit of effort into creating available retail spaces for a pop-up retail program, whereby seasonally and occasionally they rotate different businesses through our spaces. We've historically added a bit of a marketing reinforcement and consultation with a brand activist group. And we've generally created a program that allows people access to the New York ground floor retail opportunity in Midtown. And it seems to draw, different types of businesses. So we've had everything from a security robot firm that did, kind of was launching a prototype, to prints, tennis rackets, to different types of fashion designers and different, retailers.
Oh, cool. So is that part of what's keeping you open now?
Right now, the available spaces and the idea of how we think about our spaces throughout the hotel is creating an avenue by which we can engage different types of businesses and activate different relationships and different revenue potential. So we're seeing that there's obviously with New York and the whole world essentially unable to really travel or especially to New York, but generally anywhere, that as the coronavirus kind of works itself through communities, our community is at a certain stage of this process, and as people come out of the time away, there's a local interest and there's a local need to kind of re-engage. And what we're finding is that there are a lot of businesses that are looking for real solutions and real opportunities that, as they come back from having working at home, they may not be interested in having either their WeWork or their office space. And so we are basically talking to a community that's going to see our space and see our facilities as something that can provide a whether it be temporary for 6 months, it could be a year, There's a transitional period by which we've got great location and our spaces are equipped with the right kind of um, complement to any business needs. So we're gearing ourselves up to be able to be useful to that type of engagement, knowing that hotel rooms are not going to be as easy to sell in this current environment.
But you're not getting out of the hotel business.
No, no,
Okay.
we're thinking very clearly about how we can, um, you know, redefine certain opportunities.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting because, back in the day, hotels were kind of the center of town, right? And you're kind of bringing it all back around.
Yeah, I think that New York has got a very kind of eager and ambitious community, and the creativity that comes with it is that they might hear and see of an opportunity and say, I'm interested in being a participant in an engagement that um, myself and three other of my similar types of businesses might be able to coexist in a building in a unique way, in a unique period of time, because obviously community is gonna be the one of the driving factors that kind of define resilience.
Right.
And to be resilient is to be able to lean into communities and say, we want to bring people back to New York, and we have a centrally located building that otherwise is going to sit empty.
Right. Right. Well, that is great. I mean, because the minute the coffee shop down the street from where I walk to, it's a little
Yeah,
independent, man. The minute they opened up, I knew I was like, I gotta go there. Like,
yeah,
I don't need a third cup of coffee, but dadgummit, they need part
yeah,
of that community. I want to see them here 6 months from now. So that's
yeah.
really cool. Any other tactics that you might want to share with the hoteliers out there before we go?
So one of the things that I'm thinking about in our thought process of how we think about relaunching back into the market. We're a 136 room property, and the feedback that I'm getting is that any of these hotel properties in areas where they've had a little bit of a relief from the virus and they're starting to reopen, their occupancy levels are particularly low for the start of this. And so while we're looking at opportunities of alternative ways to engage people and their needs, we're also thinking about basically creating a limited number of rooms back into the market when we get ourselves ready to relaunch, so that we can offer our best rooms, our more focused guest experience, and we can create a hotel experience and engagement that's very much tailored to the hospitality kind of effort. And so um, we have to be able to engage with the type of cleaning standards and the type of reentry standards. And so our thought process is that we'll start with a smaller inventory of availability,
Mhm.
and we'll create a more centralized and specific outreach to kind of make our rooms available.
All right. Very good. All right, John. Well, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate the time.